forward in the spirit of a prophet in Islam. We study the ancient manuscripts, Moorish Quran. Everything we do is halal, some haram. Know it sounds like the hook, but this is the song. When I see a brother, I greet him with salam. Want the whole truth about Hitler and Saddam. Devastated what you did in Vietnam. Out of the savannah, so they had to use bombs. It's been a few years, I read my Proverbs and Psalms. When I see my sisters, I tell them sit calm. It's your destiny, you hold it in your palm. Mr. Popularity never cared about the prom. One of life's great mysteries, young phenom. I am that I am, that's word to my mom. Moved out the rough edges, eliminate the arms. Know what you're pledging, no Uncle Tom. Coming for our territory, taking back Guam. With that old time good spell, I wave my magic wand. Now I'm impressive vibration, sound is on. It's on.
Don't give it away. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Every time that I accelerate, they copy. I'm the master. Take my mother's and the father's great. Get me to stay. Great masterpiece for masters trying to masterpiece. This time I'm like a masterpiece. This law gon' get me the bread. Yo, Moors don't give it away. They play your life but try to take you. Can you count how many times I'll try and break you? Try to got a great clue. Struggle size 8 you. Mind of my own with a great truth. I sip a little great goose while swerving on the state truth. While plotting my escape of they rules, they schools, they jewels. They couldn't help my shine like chemicals. I'm at the top of my class on the pedestal. I throw that letter to that's HB number 2. And keep my name out your mouth unless it's about to bread my youth. What to come up with the money that you run up when this chrome game turn up in my young guards aim and shoot with your lame excuse. No, I never dead. This a full force sound system level that. Yo, you only talking fee out where your levels at. This is God body, show me where the devil at. I'll let you read what this life about. We the lawmakers, architects, and still they doubt. We keep it factual with math and science practical. They love to hate the natural. Pain with the gain, no clout. A little fame couldn't stray, I remain on route. I move mountains, earthquakes on speakers. Something often counting these occurrences, they speechless. For the world, I'm the teacher. I'm sure like the beaches, keeping everything du jour. I'm the one with the features that they envy. We the reason that they seek us to take us out every season. So, Moors don't give it away. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Every time that I accelerate, they copy. I'm the master. Take my mother's and the father's great. Give me the stay. Create the masterpiece. The master's trying to masterpiece. This time I'm like a masterpiece. This law gon' get me the bread. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Why am I in this?
Good. Good. Goddess outstanding, keeps order, she du jour. I thought Orisha Omega dated, she a Moor. Amongst the elite, but relate to the core. She command the fleet first to step on the shore. Snooze never sleep, won't hear me snore.
Hey yo, play me once, you'll never snake me twice. Break this smoke and never save my life. Never rolling with that piece, so respect my life. Respect my life, yo. Moors don't give it away. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Every time that I accelerate, they copy. I'm the master. Take my mother's and the father's great. Give me the stay. Create the masterpiece. The master's trying to masterpiece. This time I'm like the masterpiece. This law gon' get me the bread. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Yo, Moors don't give it away. Respect my life. 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 Never. Hello. ¿Cómo está? Hey. You know the PM studio, man. 7998 Premier Road. Yeah, know what it is. Hello. Buenas noches. Why did I go to the end of the song for real?
Here we go. Raka! North Star! That way. The North Star's that way. Canaanland moors. Read off, we pay every day. Okay. Uplift the fee cause we all base. We enforce the law and we obey. Forefathers from before and still today. Reading my Quran and my Torah. Universal laws in more ways. Read 4 chapters, receive it 4 ways. Great divine love rules our verse. Before I circle blocks, man, I circle 7s first. You bust the image, but your rhymes hurt. You clear 13 disrespected earth. Love, but it's all in God's plan. Today's mathematics don't judge a man. Unity of life, embodiment of truth. I'm responsible for every deed, cause I seen the proof. No, but Drew X, do I have to draw it out for you? Cause nationality is not a color I can use. Jerry Spruce, standing on my square, even without shoes. On the highest authority, spirit of blue. Marcus Garvey, whirlwind ×2. The world's in the wind when the trumpet blew.
Stand up, go into your bathroom. If you got a big floor to ceiling, cut the light on and stand and take a good hard look at yourself. You are the Moorish government, you know, and it took me a long time to get to understand that concept. I self-law am master. If I can govern myself, if I can govern my household, that's what I should be doing. Why should I walk out of my door and then leave everything that I know about myself in the house to go out and adopt something that I have no knowledge thereof? That's sense. So we need to stop asking that question. I ask myself this question: if not me, then who?
Death and wisdom, my friends, intelligent creatures, guardians of sacred knowledge, Olmecan features, secrets of the afterlife, manifest the present day. Dirty Moors and scoundrels lose their heads in a pleasant way. Deceit and deception, negative past thoughts, keeps awareness on point. Spirit messages never off. Inner realizations, encounter the higher selves. Next plane existence, explains my consistence. Without a foe, you never know, so paths most resistant. Divinity, my twin flame, side chick and mistress, metaphysic, Kabbalistic, Almaroc mystic, patriarch, papistics, make my thoughts sadistic, so indigenous, call me Americanistic, invoking the ancestors, Saracen cryptic, suns on rotation, flows ecliptic, shatter all illusions, reveal the realistic, sitting in the dark, holding the light marvelous, recognize the artifice, skin so carbonous, hair so antenna, I feel them from Vienna, myriad of virtues, lessons, in reptilian henna, enlightenment seekers won't find it in mainstream. Focus as a laser, stay balanced like a beam. Not even a gymnast. Whenever I flip this, as above, so below. Get out when within this. Don't think I'm a slave, cause I speak in English. Drew, I'll leave the water, watch your flames get extinguished. Living in your higher, lower self is relinquished. Reputation of master teachers, call it distinguished.
So I just want to get you in. What? What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, repping Friday 13th like Jason without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting his caution, might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out while we boxed in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi, wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness, extract the substance, rid minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport, as we know by being told man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwashed subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past writers' blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through saw palms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the enemy's serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed. Speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. Can always look to these holes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been marvelous since I found God. Look back, used to see his prince. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no jokey. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine, so what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
This deep. Moors don't sleep, invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep. Moors don't sleep, invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place and spoons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces. Peel back, rats, who got cases. Fire stain the corridors of flammable faces. Game changers, rule benders and no pretenders.
You in? What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, repping Friday 13th like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting his portion, might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads, whispering gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out, while we boxed in our own house.
We study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness. Extract the substance, rid minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we know by being told, man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwashed subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past writers' blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through saw palms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the enemy's serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed. Speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. Can always look to these holes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been marvelous since I found God. Look back, used to see his prince. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no jokey. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of up fears. The sun gon' shine, so what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
This deep. Moors don't sleep, invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack. This deep. Moors don't sleep, invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks, conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place and spoons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces. Peel back, rats, who got cases. Fire stain the corridors of flammable faces. Game changers, rule benders and no pretenders. Style lenders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses. Send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in. We on our verge. We are merged subliminal beings, third eye seeing, still a participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shape, bait, grade me, rolling with my main G, double O-M-B, S-O-N is crazy. For a minute that you think you could take me for a fool like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You've mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark tools, I've been saying you've mistaken me. You better move or I'll mark it, power pin is my tongue, your existence to target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide, carry out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. closer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Of some big cats ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion. Everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters cracking as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the DJ skillets of dope. Just to keep us afloat, mind as deep as the boat. Brain is a lethal weapon, we want it to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke. Under my Louis fitted the semi-poke. Cause dirty cops will kill your boy, you ain't a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just for bail condition. It's like the slavery never ended with the intermission. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and me one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.
Welcome. We're here. Islam to all Moors worldwide. Honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all the Moors in the chat. And honors to my co-host, Mizraim L. Islam.
Islam, peace, Moors, peace, Cool Joe, peace to the chat, peace to everybody. Hope y'all all right out there. It felt good to be back, bro. We missed last month. But yeah, it's good to be back. I hope everybody doing all right out there, you know. Like I said, when we spoke earlier, man, there's a lot of smoke signals coming from Caaanland right now. You know what I mean? Got it real hazy outside, you know?
Hazy.
Yeah, man. So I hope y'all all right up there and out of harm's way. But yeah, a lot of that wildfire smoke and whatnot, man, it's you got it looking kind of crazy outside, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's been a theme for the last few years. You know, this is a thing. This is a thing that they're doing now. Because I don't remember stuff going on like this. You know, and it doesn't seem global warming-ish. You know, it doesn't really seem like that. It seems really like that 100 degrees got them.
Yeah,
and they can't really stop the sun, but you know, that's why they're sons of Allah.
facts, major, yo, major. Oh man,
really
it was
the sun, but yeah. You know, they're gonna try it. They're gonna try it.
Bringing the heat for sure, man. It was so crazy. On the fourth, like a lot of, and this is no slight, no shade, but this is facts. A lot of events was canceled. Like the events Europeans was throwing in celebration, a lot of them got canceled because it was so hot, bro. Yeah, like it was like, man, you crazy. It's too hot. It's like, damn, you know, but you know, nighttime is nighttime, fireworks and whatnot. But yeah, it was wild, bro. I was like, man, this is a different type of heat. And might I say, not to, you know, linger on the weather, I kind of knew it was going to be crazy because the winter was crazy. Like we had, if anybody, you know, in the northeast, like, you know, last winter was brutal. So if opposites and polarities is real, when that happened, I was like, if the winter is this bad, you know, summer's what about to be crazy. And here we are, bro. Yeah, so you know, yo, because we had like 3 weeks below freezing, but I'm gonna leave that there. You know what I mean? The heat is on, so you know, I trust everybody's well and sustaining this. You know, staying hydrated and whatnot. Yo, and not for nothing.
What we gotta do. You know, it is what it is. Because just like when that -40 hits, you're gonna be complaining. So take that heat, soak that up.
Yes, and while we here, I just want to get this message out the way because I had a few things on my heart and mind to share in the build with Moors. So as we saying, stay hydrated. And I did say this on one of my mother's sessions, Wednesday sessions, a couple of weeks ago, because it's something I've done. I was thinking about it. Like one thing, if we look at Noble Drew Ali's lessons, like the 101s, it's a part in there where it speaks about the holy breath. Now, I'm not saying this lesson to say that I'm better than or holier than thou, but I think about these things, right? So when he was talking about the holy breath being all that it is, was, and evermore will be, right? All we could say is that it's good, etc. I was thinking like, yo, Moors, we definitely all should know CPR. I just want to say that, you know what I mean? Whether it's just the hand to chest compressions, but understanding, you know, how the holy breath could, in fact, save somebody's life. It really could. So while we on the note of staying hydrated and it being hot, I just suggest that. And to anybody who may be down at the moment and may not know what skills to acquire to make yourself kind of like more valuable in society, not better than nobody, but just more valuable. If you want to do certain things, you know, maybe work events, convention events in your city or whatnot, get you the CPR certification, fam. It does not hurt to know. It doesn't hurt to know. So I just wanted to say that because that really was on my heart and mind for a minute. I hope that resonate with somebody, but more, I had to get that out the way because that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? And it correlates to the holy breath. Period. So yeah, bro. Yeah, not for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Islam. For sure.
Just get our first stop up here.
Yeah.
So
No doubt.
we're talking about when we were building it, we were talking about the whole thing with the maps.
Yes. Yes.
And I wanted to put this out there as this is up, and we'll go through it. We'll go through this. Yeah, this popped up when I pushed the link.
Mm-hmm.
This popped up as well. So
okay,
I don't know where it came from, but this popped up.
That's the download of the map, right?
Yeah. When I hit the map.
Yeah.
So it has a this other link that came up is from terralingua.org. Decolonial map making.
Mm-hmm.
Reclaiming indigenous places and knowledge. Words and Maps by Jordan Engel. Quote, Bernard Nietzscheman, geographer. More indigenous territory has been claimed by maps than by guns. This assertion has its corollary. More indigenous territory can be defended and reclaimed by maps than guns. Throughout time and across cultures, the thing that is often most important to a people is land. While global industrial societies' connect to the land is waning, it remains ever present in indigenous cultures, despite or perhaps in defiance of near constant pressure from colonial powers to separate indigenous peoples from their lands. This connection is at the heart of what we call biocultural diversity.
Facts, more. If you meant to put that on the screen, it wasn't, but that was
No, yeah. I just wanted to have the map up there as I'm reading the thing, but so we can as we're going through the map, I'm just gonna stop and
no doubt
and go back to that thing reading. I just wanted to give a little intro. Facts. Because when we talk about that decolonization of the people, and we do it in all these different stages, you know, the people have to be denationalized, you know, the people have to lose their language, the people have to, you know, not be able to provide for themselves, and the people have to have no jurisdiction over their own land. And the maps and the changing of maps and the altering of things. And we were talking about in this one with the brothers and the colonists on it.
Yes.
I don't know if you wanted to address what you had for this map, but we'll
I
Yeah,
yield the floor.
yeah. Well, first off, I would like if you
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna
can
blow
you
it up.
blow it up?
Yeah, well, I got you.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
you.
indeed. So, all right. So let me just first and foremost say, what brought me to this was I was doing some research again. We be going in on my mother's session on Wednesdays and whatnot, and we were talking about the so-called Seminoles and how doing the knowledge there, like we already know, Africa, what they call Africa today, was attached to North Americas, and they specifically say this as a mainstream geological fact. It was connected to what they call today Florida, Georgia, um, North Carolina, South Carolina, the East Coast altogether. But they always name Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. And I was thinking about it like, yo, I remember in the Standard Dictionary of Facts, they was talking about how Florida stretched all the way over to what is Louisiana today. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, well, hold up. If the Seminoles actually, that's not even their real tribal appellation, it's really the olives, right? And the olives, that brought me to the 101s and whatnot. You know what I mean? Where it's speaking about the angels and us being related to those with the olive skin and whatnot. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense from an ancient perspective now, because the Seminoles actually was called the olives or the olives, right? So I'm like, okay. So I went back to look at the map just to put it in perspective when they say like, yo, Florida is the land of the Seminoles, quote unquote, which are really the olives. But I'm like, all right, well, let's look at what this means in an older context. When they say Africa was attached to Florida, what did Florida look like back then? You know what I mean? Like it's we know it's all one landmass, but nonetheless, what we, and again I say we name what they call Florida, Florida for the land of flowers. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. But nonetheless, when I go to look at the map more, just to double back, I caught something I never saw in my life, bro. I never saw a map like this. Again, I know um, that, Canaanland, Al Morocco, what we call today Canada, America, etc., is all really one landmass. You know what I mean? Northwest of Mexico, Northwest Africa, as more as we know and call it. And again, it's not just because we're calling it that. That is a mainstream geological fact that this is Northwest Africa. Like that is a fact. Like geologists will tell you that Africa was attached to Florida. So now that we cleared that up, the fact that above Florida, more if you could take it over, uh, is Canaanland on this old map. This is an antique map, right? So like, if you could put the cursor like on the top left part above the pink zone, is says Canada right above Florida. Like this is closer than Pennsylvania, what they call Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, all of that. Like the northern states, if you will. How they say today that borders Canada, but the fact that from the 1600s, this is an antique map. You know what I mean? From the 1600s, Canada was way down there by Florida. You know what I mean? What they call Canada and Florida, and we see what so-called Florida looked like back then. But that hit me. I'm like, hold up, Canaan land by Florida? That's kind of wild. I don't know. I mean, I know this is Canaan land, Al Morocco, etc. I get it. I definitely get it. But I haven't seen that particular map showing Canaan land so far down. And again,
No.
this is an antique map. So when I seen that, I was excited because I'm like, yo, yeah, if anybody, you gotta see this, bro. We gotta
Yeah.
top this up, bro. Because that was different. You know what I'm saying? So even today, because it's a lot of naysayers. Oh, you from Canada? You not even American, and all these
Mhm.
crazy talk. You know what I'm saying? In the older times, this is what it looked like. You know what I mean? So, like you said, we know borders and boundaries change, and again, you see it there, right? They got the Moors at the bottom, indigenous, and some Europeans. You know what I mean? Ferdinand and them. So this whole thing has always been about the conquest of the Moors. We don't get to the colonization of America without the outgrowth of overthrowing the Moors.
Has to be.
Yes, and not just the the Moorish Empire was their intent. So once they defeated Moors in Granada, of course, the next step was to outgrowth here. So yeah, when they say, "Oh, this is about the Indians and all of this," and no, it's not. This has always been about a Moorish empirical storyline. That's a fact. Like that is the true history. Everything else was it kind of like came after that, as far as the Indian, the Negro, black colored brands, etc. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but more. What's your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, when I seen that, I'm like, nah, we gotta talk about this, bro. Canada above, that's like right on the Mississippi.
That's right there.
Yeah, like
Right there.
I mean?
Yeah, I think it brings that relation again with Noble Drew Ali making reference in the Quran to the Moors, the Moorish Americans, and the Mexicans of North America, and that all of this is one jurisdiction above Mexico. However high you want to put Mexico, because like you're saying, not seeing Canaanland being next to Florida is crazy. Like that's very very much more south than I've ever seen any type of connection being made.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
making that, the same way that we're making the connection that, Africa's also over here. We're making the connection that above Mexico is one jurisdiction. Don't be fooled by what the colonial people said, in their dividing of the land. Back to this article right here.
mm-hmm.
Land theft has historically happened through various and often violent tactics. But as Bernard Nischman points out, colonization often begins with mapping the land. Colonial powers, without the consent of indigenous peoples, draw political borders that more than often not do not reflect any real natural or cultural boundaries. They are imaginary lines that are superimposed on the land by people who have little knowledge of the land. These people then proceed to populate their maps with names for rivers, mountains, and towns, names that are invented specifically for this purpose. Once again, these names often fail to represent anything meaningful about the local ecosystem or indigenous culture of a precise location. And then, as I was reading this, I was remembering, I'm pretty sure it was before high school, but the map having the legend that had all that, or it would have something with it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have a book or something with it, with all the names and the origin of the names, and right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that they have this power to doctrine of discovery everything,
Right.
and then people knowing that this is what's going on, and the stuntedness to just accept it, like that people would still be saying Canada when referring to Moors instead of saying Canaanland.
Yeah.
United States, referring to Moors. It's a dumbness, or it's a psychological warping that's happened or that's going on. They are instead chosen after important people like Johannesburg, Vancouver, and Sydney, or after places from the colonial culture like New York, New Orleans, New South Wales. Indigenous place names, by comparison, are usually uniquely tied to a specific location, describing the landscape or a species that proliferates in that area, or a cultural event that occurred at that location. Early colonizers were likely well aware of what they were doing. As they made their way across the yet unexplored by European land, they kept fairly detailed records of where different tribes lived and the indigenous names for local landmarks. Taking the example of Henry Schoolcraft, an early 19th century U.S. Indian agent, he learned Ashnemabawin, the Ojibwe language, and meticulously documented Anishinaabe place names. As a geographer, he had the privilege of deciding what future generations of European settlers would call the places he went through. Rather than passing on the knowledge of indigenous place names, Schoolcraft was notorious for creating faux Indian place names. For example, Lake Itasca, the source of the Mississippi River, was named by Schoolcraft. It has no meaning in any language. Many people wrongly assume it as Anishinaabe in origin, but the Anishinaabe name for the lake is actually Omashkozo, which translates to Elk Lake. Right, so the same way that we'll look at this one.
Yeah, because Schoolcraft, he wrote about indigenous people. I remember reading some of his work.
His name. His name comes up. His name comes up. Schoolcraft comes up.
Yeah, I remember that name. Yeah.
There's certain names that you only have to hear it one time.
Yeah.
You know. So maps that like this one's saying Tamarikans. Tamarikans.
Right.
There's nobody claiming that.
Right, but
they have the indigenous people on there with their bows and arrows and all that stuff. People who claim that this is them, they're not even claiming that.
Facts.
Right now we also know that on top of Africa and America, it's also Tamari.
I was about to say that, boy. You already know.
So
that's what I'm looking like. Yeah, I mean, Tamari.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Facts. There you go. That's why we have to chop this down, bro. Like, we gotta chop it up because there's a lot in there. Definitely.
You know, there's definitely a limit. Right, so you can't. Obviously, everything can't be there. Right, we know this. Everything can't be there.
Right.
But only by going back again to honoring the foremothers and forefathers, and just doing your best to know more than you knew yesterday. Doing things like this, going back and checking old documentation. Now, we talked about this before, but they're gonna say mountains, but I don't know. if these are just mountains only.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean?
Yeah.
It can't just be mountains only.
Nah. And if you go to them, like it, you see it. You could, if your eyes are open, you'll be like, bro, that is not a mountain, bro.
Yeah.
Like you could see, like, yo, the bricks is just too, like, I mean, not sleeping on nature, but like, come on, bro, those bricks is so symmetrical. Those stones, excuse me. Um, yo, I have no doubt about it that some of those so-called mountains are pyramids, because I mean, yo, and it had, even castles and dwellings that was carved out of the mountain.
Hmm.
And explain that. Where did they get the tools to do that? Right? Chisel, hammer, all types of stuff. So yeah, definitely. And because that's a style of architecture. You'll see, like, on the side of mountains and in mountains, there's structured temples and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it wouldn't be, far fetched for some of these mountains to actually be, have temples and whatnot within those mountains. Like, that's a fact. It was an article even about the a Moorish castle falling off the crag. You know, that's on the side of the mountain. So yeah, it's really a thing. It's really a style of architecture for real.
For real, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Was there anything else on this map?
I
I know you
mean,
had
just
said
for
the
the
other
record,
one.
one more time, you can highlight where it says Canada. You know what I mean? Just to show one more time, like that was right next to what they call Florida. But we know that that's Canaan land. We know that. So yeah, again, that was really, where I was getting at with it, is that and all of those little details that you pointed out, you know what I mean? And how close these things were interconnected in history, you know, going all the way south like that, you know what I mean? That's down there by what people call Louisiana today, Canaan, so-called Canada, which we know is a derivative of Canaanland. So yeah, that's really it. And this one shows how big so-called Florida was. So again, when geologists are telling you, we didn't make this up. Geologists will tell you this, that Africa, what they call Africa today, was attached to Florida. And so when we look back at Florida, it's talking about really all of that and more, though, because
Yeah.
again, it was on the East Coast. So in this regard, it made the landmass one, as we have been saying. And this is also the foundation of why people arguing that Moors were not here and that it was Indians and all of that. Like literally, Morocco was attached to the East Coast, or what they call the Moroccan kingdom today, the whole continent, if you will, meaning all the lands were one. So Moor's been here, and that's going back before the great earthquake and whatnot. So yeah, again, just understanding the foundation, like, of what we're looking at, and then that it wasn't even always in this form. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we go back further, we'll see something else in a different derivative or what.
Hmm.
So yeah, but this one caught my eye more, like just studying the indigenous people there. Like, yo, it's that's a tropical region. Florida is. Like, it's really tropical. So we got that here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. You swear to the islands over
yeah. You got gators and all of this. You know what I mean? That's yeah. You know what I'm saying? We got a whole bunch of stuff down there: wild animals, reptiles, and the Florida Keys and the what is it, Everglades, and
there.
all that tropical life form there. So all of that was over here and is over here too. It is what it is. So yeah, shout out to Shout out to Moors, man. You know, the indigenous people of the land, for real. You know, and that's no slight, no shade, but that is in fact the truth. If you study the history of the foundation that we call Earth, these lands were connected. That's why we are in fact Aboriginal indigenous here as well. So yeah, more that was my piece on the map, you know?
Um, before we get off this too,
Mm-hmm.
a good reference point if you could find anything on him. Jeremy Samuel, a Moor that had some writings on Moorish Florida, Pensacola, Moorish Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
The book's called "The Moorish Essence of Pensacola," and this is a excerpt from that. Even upon the arrival of European colonists, the Wolf Trail or Pensacola trading path was still a lucrative trade route. Mustafa Zemori or Estevanico, the Moorish navigator and explorer, is celebrated today at the Estevanico International Festival in Pensacola. In Western perspective, he was the first person born in the continent of Africa to have arrived in the present day continental United States. Mustafa Zemori was a guide and translator who lived in Azamur, Morocco, and traveled from Seville to Florida and northwestern Mexico with Alvar Nunez Cabeza de Vaca, Andres Dorantes, and Alonso de Castillo. Established the first Spanish settlement in North America and had 100 Moors in his fleet. The Moors founded the city of Seville in Moorish Spain, and it functioned as a clearinghouse to receive silks, gunpowder, leather, and other goods from Africa and places around the Mediterranean Sea. Correspondingly, Seville is the oldest neighborhood in Pensacola. 3 centuries later, Suanfi Tuskegee, or Chief Abraham, served as a translator and diplomat for Chief Micanopy and the Seminole Nation. Tustanuki is a term given to commanding officers in charge of defending the life and lands of the Seminoles. Chief Micanopy wears the Moorish-styled red turban with ostrich feathers in his portrait, and Abraham is also pictured wearing a turban. Many Seminoles wore fezzes also, as Chief Billy Bowlegs III is shown in a picture wearing a large maroon fez. Abraham lived in Pensacola, but fled when Andrew Jackson arrived to colonize Florida and enslave freed and fleeing Moors, also known as Maroons. Many people of African and Aboriginal American descent fled from their homes in Pensacola with Abraham to Negro Fort, quote unquote. Later in 1816, the fort was destroyed by the U.S. ships. Abraham survived and went south toward Tampa to find refuge at Billy Bowlegs Village. Moorish Pensacola, the Moorish essence of Pensacola, a legacy of exploration and cultural exchange from Estevanico to Tristan de Luna. Jeremy Samuel.
Fine, yes. And even in even when we did the Are You in Denial part 2, like that's why I was highlighting those images, you know, that came with that, because I'm like, look at this. These are Moors, you know what I mean? Some of them were dressed. I'm not saying or comparing them to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but I'm saying the garments were the same. You know what I mean? Noble Drew Ali has on a turban with a feather, bro. You know, that's Moorish. You know what I mean? That's Moorish regalia, if you will.
Stressing the point, yeah.
You
Stressing
know
the
what I
point.
mean? He had on a medicine
On a grand scale. On a grand scale, too.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Noble Drew Ali is the picture is him sitting in the chair with his left foot forward, and he has a medicine bag on, right?
Mhm.
Like that's, I mean, that's Moorish. That's indigenous culture.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? Like that is Moorish for sure, and it is indigenous American, style. Like it really is. So that that says a lot. And then these brothers are sitting there with some of the same garments on, and same style. I'm like, hold on, there's a connection. Exactly.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, we were saying since we're on Americas, we're gonna do the
Okay, bet. Let's
Phoenician
do it.
one. So I have that up right now.
All right, cool. Let me pull that up too. Give me 1 second. If you want to start it off, or what
Yeah,
you
yeah, I could get in on it.
okay. All right. I was gonna say. Um hold on. Yeah, or just give me a second to pull it up. Whatever you
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And what was the this was also in the doing the research.
Yeah, yeah, you already know. Y'all know how I'll definitely be looking and finding stuff. Some stuff I'll be finding I don't even be looking for, you know what I mean? But this one I found interesting as well because of the language used in there and some different perspectives. But these things are documented, We're not making this up when we're saying Moors are Aboriginal indigenous here, right? And even if y'all want to contend that Moors are not, we know that it's a documented fact. Everybody across the planet was definitely coming to America before the Europeans did. That is a documented fact in many institutions of learning. So it's not like what people would call Africans today came on a slave boat and a slave boat only. That's not true. It's documented even in Ellis Island. People were coming here for tens of thousands of years from all over the planet. This is definitely common knowledge if you're studying. You know what I mean? So yeah, pardon me. I was about to look that up again. Pardon me. Um, yeah, and many so-called scholars, if you will, know this already. So I'm just thankful we could share it tonight. Yeah. Hold up.
And remember the relationship. Right? Remember, we're talking about a global connection, global people,
Yes.
a recognition from many,
Yes.
that you know what these people are the same people. Everywhere we go, we see them. There's no
Fact.
way that we don't go, and we go to some little crack and crevice, and you find there's grandma with the big afro and all that with the big nose.
Hmm.
Like where's she come from? Nobody else looks like these people around here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And again, people steal the birthright
Yeah.
on
That's a
on
fact.
some judging by color.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, this is for educational purposes only, right? Like we just for educational purposes only. Just want to start from the top, then I guess because Phoenicia linked to America, right? And we gotta know too, like when they're talking about Phoenicians, they're talking about the original people of the planet, but Phoenicia was like a style of speech. Like it's hard to hear about Phoenicians and there not be something with language involved, right? Like phonetics, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Phone, talking, like it's words, Phoenicians. So it's really not a nationality. Phoenicians are communicating people, right? They were Moors indeed, and they were inventing languages. Hence, even as we're looking at the heading, you see it's something to do with language in the mix on the page. Like you will, it's almost you're always here Phoenician when it comes to languages and stuff like that. But they're really talking about Moors. Those people who were inventing these styles were Moors, right? But the style Phoenicia is what they did. But this is how they tell the story. So Phoenician, Moabites, Canaanites, any Asiatic ancestry, like in the East, when they're talking, you know, they're talking about Moors. That's really what it is. All those appellations. But nonetheless, it says for educational purposes only by Walter Sullivan, a new analysis and translation of a long discredited inscription has led an authority on the ancient Phoenicians to conclude that they landed in Brazil some 2,000 years before Columbus reached the New World. And again, whether people agree with that or not, I know that it is a fact. People were coming here again tens of thousands of years. But you gotta when I hear things like this, I always think they came before Columbus. You know what I mean? I know we were already here. Some will argue, yeah, we were always here. But yes, we had, the skills to navigate at that time the planet still before the Europeans got here. Like, and that is major, because it changes the narrative of we were forced on a boat to be here, like when we were already freely coming back and forth. So it says, and remind you, I just want to put this in perspective again. When it says they reached Brazil some 2,000 years before Columbus reached the New World, remember, from 1492 to right now, 2026, if you go by the Gregorian calendar, that is not 1,000 years. So we talking 2,000 years. They're giving that minimum for this to be the case. That's what they're saying in this premise. But it says while this further complicates the argument as to who discovered, quote unquote, America, Dr. Cyrus Gordon of Brandeis University, who has reassessed the inscription, emphasizes that Columbus still probably deserves chief credit for opening the New World to the Old. Dr. Gordon, which I don't agree with that, because the Old World been coming here for tens of thousands of years prior. Maybe to them, because they was just arriving like really late to the party, right? But yeah, so anyway, I digress and resume reading. It says, Dr. Gordon argues, however, that the monumental structures built in America by pre-Columbian civilizations were inspired by Mediterranean visitors. So y'all already know what that is, that's so-called Africa, and Southern Asia, some people call it, Europe, but we know Europe is really West Asia. So, that's Asiatics, Moors, or what some people would call today Asiatics, Africans, etc., Mediterranean, all of that, Moorish activities, heavy, So they letting you know right there, Moors already had an influence over here, like it or not. Like this didn't start once we came here. Once Columbus came, and then we was forced to build all of this stuff. No, that's what we did freely. Like that's what Moors were doing back then, freely. It wasn't. And again, don't get me wrong. Some people were enslaved to build castles, so I don't want to discredit that either. But I am saying that this was something that was going on long before. So again, to your point about what we were mentioning earlier about mountains and whatnot, it all correlates. But I'll resume. It says discoveries in recent years have convinced many archaeologists that various outsiders willfully or accidentally reached American shores long before Columbus did at the end of the 15th century. Notable among them were the so-called Vikings and Leif Erikson, who established a short-lived settlement in Newfoundland about 1,000 years ago. This is what they saying, right? So it says found by Brazilian slave. Now, I also want to say this too, because when we talk about the so-called slave trade, when it did happen, what I know this might sound crazy to some people, but this is the God's honest truth from what I have researched, bro. Like, and what I've seen, like out of they say they bought millions of slaves to the Americas from Africa. That's what they say. But this is what is interesting to me is they say they only brought 500,000 to what is now known as the United States. So you mean to tell me out of tens of millions of people they say that they bought to America, they only brought 500,000 to the North? That's what they saying. So I don't know, when they talk about how they landed in South America and whatnot, I get it. You know what I mean? But also understand, like, I think somebody's lying. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel
Yeah.
about it.
And remember too that they think they have the Negroes on lock.
Yeah.
So when they're saying the millions, and then they even show on the map with them telling on themselves that you see all the boats going to South America.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
You know what I mean? But if the individuals who are going with that narrative are seeing that and not asking questions, then obviously these people have them under some serious brainwash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's right there that only a small percentage were brought to North America if we go with their narrative.
Right.
So where everybody else come from?
Facts.
And how come nobody's talking about the elephant in the room? All these other millions of people. This is what they do. This is their move.
Yeah. You know. So yeah. That's something I've been thinking about. Like, you mean to tell me out of, they say tens of millions, they only brought, and I know this is a large number, but in contrast, when you're looking at the numbers of so-called tens of millions, they didn't bring 1 million to North America out of tens of millions.
Not even close.
Yeah, like that's what they saying. So it says found by Brazilian slave, the inscription that has led Dr. Gordon to conclude that the Phoenicians reached the eastern extremity of Brazil in the 6th century BC. 6 centuries BC. That's what they saying. So this before Christ and all of that, right? Before Columbus, before, you know what I mean? Centuries before. But it says, so I'll bring that back. It says the inscription that has led Dr. Gordon to conclude that the Phoenicians reached the eastern extremity of Brazil in the 6th century BC was allegedly taken from a stone said to have been found in Paraíba, Brazil in 1872 by a plantation slave. According to Dr. Gordon, the son of the plantation owner, a skillful craftsman transcribed the inscription and sent it to the Academy of Sciences in Rio de Janeiro. The present location of the stone itself is unknown. See, artifacts go missing and all of that. You know what I mean? Somebody know where it's at. Yeah, that's what they do. They do. And they'll like unearth a graveyard, ship the bones and the skeletons to, in this time frame anyway, they would ship them to universities, and you would never know what happened to them. You know what I mean? Where are they at now? You know? Yeah. So it says the inscription tells how 10 Phoenician vessels left Ejan Gebir, an island in the Gulf of Aqaba. Yo, forgive me, Moors. I don't know if this.
Yeah, Yeah, it's all good.
I botched that. I know.
Akaba. It looks like Akaba.
Yeah, definitely. I paused for a minute because I thought it was Al Aqsa for a second. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you know, it's still down the Red Sea to go for Aqaba. Yeah, for sure. It sounds like Kaba in there as well, but
Yeah.
it,
Kaba's in there.
yeah. It said it sailed down the Red Sea and around Africa. A storm separated one vessel from the others, and according to Dr. Gordon, it was apparently caught in the west flowing south equatorial current. So we have come here, the inscription continues in Dr. Gordon's translation 12 men and 3 women on a new shore, which I, the admiral, control. Right? So you have Moors, or what they call in Phoenicians. The transcription is they claimed the land. Interesting. He, the admiral, controls.
That was the planting of the flag.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact. And he was,
Documenting it.
mhm. And in
And,
context, he was still coming home. They were still coming home
mhm,
because we already discussed how the land was all connected at one point.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the Moor said in the chat about the great earthquake too. So
Mhm.
if it's separated, like if Moors are the navigators like that, right, on
Mhm.
land and sea,
Right.
then when it was connected, we were on the move, right?
Right.
So what type of displacement would happen with an earthquake creating an ocean?
Fact.
The earthquake creates the ocean. So now we're going from the ocean now onward. So now having to figure out how we're going to cross this thing and what is it? Who? There's a lot that goes into it after the great earthquake to see how we got to where we're at now.
Facts.
And that some stone is gone missing. Some certain people's audios you can't find. You find everybody else's stuff.
Mhm.
The inscription continues in the 12 men and 3 women.
Mhm.
Like who are they?
Facts.
Where are they coming from? The getting were they really displaced and figured, hey, we got to build a boat and get out of here, get back home.
Facts.
You have to let the dog out. The dog didn't.
Right.
How we getting back?
Facts.
Well, we have to cross the ocean.
Mhm. And not to over religiousize it, but when I hear the 12, I think the zodiac. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I know there's narratives about 12 tribes of Israel. I know we're all Moors. That is where I'm at with it. But yeah, it's I don't know. This 12. The zodiac. That's a code. Because even when they talk about the 12 tribes of Israel, that's directly correlated to the 12 signs of the zodiac as well. So understanding, maybe this is a divine and national aspect we should be looking at it with. Like, what's up with that 12,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
And,
definitely
and,
significant.
and no slight to the 3, because from the triune Allah, everything breathed forth, right? So the
Right.
12 tribes and the 3 women, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading through the allegory.
Well, I get even maybe it's 3 women, 12 men.
Right.
And they really got it twisted.
Right. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
The 3 matriarch were the one that were running the ship. So then now we got to go delve into that now. Now hold on a second. So it wasn't just like it wasn't the pharaohs, and they weren't men.
Right.
Just like you mean all the blacksmiths and all the whoever were women too.
Facts.
All right.
Yeah.
It could go many ways though. Once you start going into
Right.
this level of Doctor Whoever's and those people, because they're gonna unearth some things. They're gonna find some things that they really don't get, they don't understand or whatever, and it's gonna be a gold mine for Moors. All these Moors out here that like to study and research or whatever.
Right.
It's just so much finding out about who we are.
Indeed.
That we're able to make these type of connections. Just in doing our research, it's amazing.
Facts. And I do, if I'm not mistaken, I think it only takes 3 women to have a matriarchal society, like as far as like a form of government. I think also that is where they got the 3 branches of government from. That same concept. Like this is no slight, no shade. We're just talking the truth about the ancient way. That is how it was definitely going down. You know what I mean? It's the Iroquois society will show you that, and it's documented that they are saying that they got ancestors that stem from the Eastern Hemisphere as well. Like that is their philosophy as well. So I don't know, but I don't want to be wrong about that, but I think I'm right. About the 3 branches of government and them getting that from the indigenous societies, because there's no kings here. They came from being subjects. So this free form of government, right? Like they built that off of something that was already built. Yeah, like we can't forget that. So yeah, more yeah, I just think it's something there, you know what I mean?
No, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's always something there.
Yeah.
Just with Moorish eyes, there's always going to be something there. Something to consider.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah, did you wanna continue on?
Yeah. We can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Where we at? So after the 12 women, right? Or the 3 women?
Right, yeah. 12 and the 3. Yeah, I think it's some more science in that for sure, more.
Yeah.
Definitely. No doubt about it. Now I'm looking at it. That's some more science for us right there. Yeah. Yeah. Uh you wanna pick up, or you want me to continue? I'll continue. Where was we at? It says
Dr. Gordon?
Yeah, Dr. Gordon pointed out in the telephone interview that this conformed to an account by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus of a Phoenician voyage around Africa to the Mediterranean shores of Egypt. Herodotus wrote, so the Phoenicians set out from the Red Sea. And now, mind you, when you hear Phoenicians, no, they're talking about Moors, but Moors who were, communicators, scientists, language founders. This is who they talking about, going all over the planet, spreading the civilization. So it says the Phoenicians set out from the Red Sea and sailed the Southern Sea. Whenever autumn came, they would put in and sow the land to whatever part of Libya, then Africa, right? They might come. And that's key right there too, because all of North Africa was called Libya. And as it's showing here, maybe it was more to what they was calling Africa as really being Libya. I always found that interesting looking up the word Libya, and it's saying that, the entire North Africa. So that says a lot about all of North Africa, from Morocco all the way over to the eastern side, like, Egypt, all of that. So yeah, I think that that says a lot. and something we should consider when we're reading history. And you see something about Libya, that's not just what they call Libya today. Like we started off showing the map of Florida, and what they show is Florida today is not what Florida was,
It was.
300, 400 years ago, right? So you got to keep those things in perspective too when you're looking at the history, so that it makes sense that it's still talking about so-called Africans. But yeah, that was definitely key. And notice how they paying attention to the seasons. That's astronomy. Which says they would so the Phoenicians set out from the Red Sea and sailed the Southern Sea whenever autumn came. That means they was flying south for the winter too, like birds.
Mm-hmm.
They was observing nature, right? That's basically it, you know. So notice that that's astrology, astronomy, and actual action according to the seasons, right? Noble Dry Lee was speaking of this in chapter 1 of the Circle 7 when he's speaking about, you know, the stations of the sun in the spirit of the mighty Allah, right? That rule the stations of the sun and the solar stars, or as God and protector, and they will lead to victory. You know what I mean? Like, all of that is a science that was actually practiced. They were following these things. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. So it says, yeah, and they await the harvest. Then, having gathered in the crop, they sailed on so that after 2 years had passed, it was in the third that they rounded the pillars of Heracles, the straits of Gibraltar, and came to Egypt. So now you also know, like, when you see that, Heracles and all of that, they're talking about the straits of Gibraltar, straight like that. You know what I mean? It also goes on to say, and came to Egypt. Until recently, Dr. Gordon said the most widely studied version of the Brazilian inscription. Hold up, my fault. Hold on, let me pull it up on mine. My bad, Moore. I was reading off. You went too far down. Let me find this again.
Until recently?
Yeah, where was I at? Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna pull this back up on my okay, here we go. Let me see something. Sheesh. Oh, well, I mean, we could acknowledge the inscription itself, but let me read the article. It said the most widely studied version of the Brazilian inscription was a transcription published in 1899. It led scholars to dismiss the account as a fraud because of crudities of lettering and word usages considered in characteristics of the Phoenicians. Say this again. It says, all right, it said in the most widely studied version of the Brazilian inscription was a transcription published in 1899. It led scholars to dismiss the account as a fraud because of crudities of lettering and word usages considered uncharacteristic of the Phoenicians. So you had those who were calling it not legit. Okay, so these are different perspectives, you know, and you still see them today.
See the same thing.
Same thing today. Yup. Everybody always gonna have a different perspective in it. It just is what it is, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So it says, two developments have also altered the picture. Dr. Gordon said one has been the indication in recently discovered Phoenician writings that the word usages in question were common. The other was a chance purchase of an old scrapbook by Dr. Jules Pickus of the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, who figured several years ago in bringing to light long neglected manuscripts of Leonardo da Vinci in the National Library of Spain in Madrid. So therein is another jewel, if you will, or some reference material to study further. What does Leonardo da Vinci have to do with the National Library of all places, Spain and Madrid?
Yeah.
We know, if you know anything about Moors, you know that's Moorish. You just know that. You know, hey, we don't, this is not even up for discussion, right? Like it is what it is. You talk about Spain, Madrid. We know it's out in Duluth. It's not just there, but that was like the beacon light, not just for Moors, but for the world at that time. That was the center of learning for the planet. Like all nationalities came there to get an education. That is a fact, bro. So anytime I see anything dealing with things of this nature, like Leonardo da Vinci in the National Library of Spain in Madrid, we know that Leonardo da Vinci, the Da Vinci Code, all of that absolutely is Moorish foundational in its origin. You know what I mean? And what it is, you know? Yeah, more don't
Yeah.
we can't let that go over our head.
Quick interjection. Quick interjection with this. Going back again to this. Um, Changing the names article. That it was only during the age of European exploration that cartography began to become standardized around the world. Today, one is likely to find identical world maps in classrooms on opposite sides of the planet, in spite of very different indigenous cultural understandings of geography. That cultural knowledge is rapidly being lost, even though Europeans were in the first, even though Europeans were the first people to map the world, not non-European people did not have to forfeit their right to map their lands in their own way. Map making is an art, not a science, and the rigid international standardization that has been applied to it stifles individual and cultural expression. Right? Reforming the minds, socially conditioning through the standardization, through the open, blatant standardization.
Fact.
So because I was bringing that up because when you were talking about the Spain and all that, and that's because of the Moors. Why
Yeah.
there's people saying Spain.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's strictly because of Moors. Why this place name even exists. There's no other reason. Just like Navy, the only reason why there's that is because of Moors.
That's a fact.
U.S. Navy didn't have to exist if it wasn't for the Moors.
Fact.
It's always there. It's the underlying. It's the thread through everything.
Mm-hmm.
The Moorish connection all there. Because remember, we're talking about Phoenicians, right? No, we're talking about Moors. They're not saying it like that, but that's what they're saying. When they say Straits of Gibraltar, and people are looking at mountains and rivers and all that, and don't know that that's Tariq. It's General Tariq. It's Gibraltar.
Facts.
The Moor. It's not some straits. That's the Moor.
Facts.
So we're always there. We're always there.
Always there. And even maybe with a different appellation. Case in point, when they talk about what was it? The Pillars of Heracles. That
Yeah.
sounds like a Greek version of the
Mhm.
story. You know what I mean? But like you're saying, that's simply Tariq. You know what I mean? Like they like this. I mean, like it literally be indigenous culture. Like they have different appellations, I guess, in different languages. You know what I mean? So the Greeks might be saying, or what they call Greek, they might be talking about Heracles, but this is really the story of Tariq.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I don't. That's what it seemed like because it got it in parentheses. The Pillars of Heracles, the Straits of Gibraltar. That sound like a clarification.
Mhm.
Yeah, or correlation. So yeah. Yeah, more. So yeah, that's what it is. Like when you know, you see it. You can see right through this. This is a Moorish story, though they haven't said it quite yet, like blatantly, but they did.
Openly, yeah.
But if
Code,
you know
code
that's what
talk,
they
yeah,
talk.
code talk.
Yeah, but it's at a certain point where it's like this is obvious. You know what I mean? Like it's not even like it's yeah, but they yeah for sure. This is a Moorish theme history right here, especially Leonardo da Vinci in the National Library of Spain in Madrid. We know Da Vinci Code and all of that is Moorish foundation
Mhm.
in its essence. That's a fact. If you didn't know, it's obvious now, right? Like Dr. Pickens, we could go on.
Yeah, Dr. Pickus told by phone how in Providence, Rhode Island, he was borrowing through a benefit sale of a woman's college when he saw the scrapbook. Apparently, it had belonged to Wilberforce Ames, head of the New York Public Library during the late 19th century. Dr. Pickus believes he bought it for a dime or a quarter. And a dime or a quarter of what? Right? That little stuff that we have today. Let me say a dime and a quarter.
Mhm.
In it was a letter dated January 31st, 1874, sent to Mr. Eames by Ladislaw Neto, director of the National Museum in Rio de Janeiro. It enclosed a transcription of the stone inscription discovered 2 years earlier, as well as translations into Hebrew and French. Dr. Pickus, a professor of Roman languages, showed his find to Dr. Gordon, who found this inscription much clearer and more plausible than the 1899 version. Further investigation disclosed that another clear version had been published in this city in 1874 by Novo Mundo, a Portuguese language periodical that shared offices with the New York Times, then in Park Row. The fact that the inscription makes use of Phoenician terminology not known to archaeologists at the time of its discovery ruled out its being a forgery, Dr. Gordon believes. The fact that the inscription makes use of Phoenician terminology not known to archaeologists at the time of its discovery rules out its being a forgery. The announcement of his finding was made by Brandeis yesterday. Dr. Gordon said that while the landing reported in the Brazilian tablet was accidental, there may have been many intentional landings of Mediterranean seafarers in the New World in the centuries, even millennia before Columbus. Been here.
In here.
So pre-Columbian isn't just some 5 or 10 years before 1492.
No.
The
Facts.
earliest discoveries, he contended, that which visitors had brought with them architectural ideas such as pyramid building and monumental stone structures supported by a forest of columns in the Egyptian manner. The traditional view has been that the Aztec and Mayan cultures were entirely indigenous. Pillars and pyramids, it was reasoned, are an illogical form of construction for anyone using masonry. The true discoverers of America were probably from the tribes that first crossed Asia into Alaska when the Bering Straits were dry land during the Ice Age thousands of years ago. Pottery found recently in Ecuador suggests Japanese visit about 2500 BC. A Chinese visit to Mexico in 459 AD had been claimed, and various scholars have argued that Irish or Welsh visitors, among others, antedated the Vikings.
Yeah, antedated.
Antedated the Vikings. Dr. Gordon, who is professor of Mediterranean studies at Brandy in Waltham, Massachusetts, stirred up a controversy in 1957 when he reported that the Minoan inscriptions left on clay tablets on Crete from the 17th to the 15th century BC in a script known as Linear A were Semitic.
Come on, fam. Like, and this
Big
is
man.
big mad, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Because our
1968.
evidences are still there. You know, they telling you this came from that. These, you know, like even when it comes down to the monumental structures that were here, these were built by Moors who had experience on both sides of the planet. You know, it wasn't like they was in this pigeonhole of just being here in this regard. Like we were already everywhere.
Yeah.
So
And the tribes that first crossed Asia to Alaska and then coming down, all of them too, the Japanese and the Chinese and all of them are Muslims. The Irish and the Welsh and all of them are the same people.
major facts, major. Yes, exactly. So the culture is the same. That's the culture. You know, that's why there's similarities everywhere because the styles is just what it is. What it is. You know. So yeah, I thought that was a dope piece, more. You know what I mean? We didn't make this up. This documented. You know, it has been documented for a very long time. This is more of a on the recent age, but for educational purposes only, is what that's about. And I'm glad we got that on the record, bro. You know,
So,
for sure. Yeah. Um, you want to get into another one before we spin? You want to
yeah, I'm about to
comments, questions? You want to add on? Or?
I'm about to that squatters one.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
you-
Oh,
That's
well, hold up. Before
which
you
one?
do that,
Which one you want to go to?
hold on. Before you do that, did we read like the so-called the translation on the article at the top?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or was that just an
Yeah.
excerpt from the?
No, we didn't do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you read that part more if you like the because
Let me get
and
back to it.
and let me say that same inscription on there. Oh yeah, when you pull it back up, I'll add on. But yeah, that inscription. If you was when we look at it again, that looks like the same lettering and the same language that was used on the Moabite stone. Like you can literally pull up an image of
Mhm.
what they call a Moabite stone,
Mhm.
and you will see like the language looks very similar, very similar. You know.
It's, we are sons of Canaan from Sidon, the city of the king. Commerce has cast us on this distant shore, a land of mountains. We sacrificed a youth for the exalted gods and goddess in the 19th year of Hiram, our mighty king. We embarked from Ezion Geber into the Red Sea and voyaged with 10 ships. We were at sea together for 2 years around the land belonging to Ham, Africa, but were separated by a storm from the hand of Baal, and we were no longer with our companions. So we have come here, 12 men and 3 women, on a new shore, which I, the admiral, control. But auspiciously, may the exalted gods and goddesses favor us. At the storm, that's what you get for the sacrifice. Doing dumb stuff.
Facts.
Look at you now. Everything would have been running smooth, but you want to play sacrificial games.
And they talking about the year of Hiram. We already know what that's about. You know what I mean? No slight, no shade, but I mean, it's a lot in there. It's a lot in there. Uh, Almighty King. That's kind of wild, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and we take it all. You know, we're not um, removing it. It's part of the history. It's part of the legacy. You deal with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That family member who's messed up or whatever like that.
Yeah.
They're
And
just a dick. You just deal with it. They're not contaminating your stream
fact.
because they're dumb and we're family.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. And it goes to the aspect of why it's a divine and national movement. And, straying after the gods of Europe, of who we knew nothing. Noble
Mhm.
Drali is talking now, right? Like, I mean, these are things we got to consider. The divinity, like, yes, we are part of, we, like, in our own right, you could say, we're a spirit and a part of Allah. Like, that's the truth, right? It makes sense in all the documents. They basically tell you that God is in you. You are God. You are one with the true and living God. But straying from that could have other consequences. And it's not to be, mystified. It's just really divine law and karma. You know what I'm saying? And balancing out. So I think that's an interesting piece to not overlook. You know what I'm saying? More
Mhm.
gotta be one, gotta get right. We all, striving for perfection and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going back again to we have our lessons.
Yeah.
Our prophet knew exactly what it is that we needed,
Mm-hmm.
so we don't set ourselves up like that. You know. Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that chat question?
Nah, what it say? My fault. Let me check the chat. My bad, y'all. I
Oh,
had
it's
to
all good.
um
No, I was just gonna go pull up this other article.
okay, what was the question? Peace, family.
Some freedman question.
Peace, family. Is this an open panel? Will y'all be dropping the stream y'all link for guests? Um, I mean, what you want? Well, maybe after we get into this article or whatnot, we could
Yeah, I
open.
mean, we could see how far we get with this,
Yeah,
because
I mean, do you know this person as a troll or
no,
was it?
I don't even know who that is. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
even know.
all right.
They just said freedman, so. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
We
all right.
could we could deal with that whenever.
Facts.
Um,
Freedmanism. Yeah.
because we haven't had the lines open for a while. We haven't had push one,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
We
and hopefully I'm looking because hopefully this is not a bot. I remember it was one of these types of games that when we
scarred
first,
scarred for life.
yeah, bro, yeah, nah, because
Scarred for life.
crazy, bro. But it don't I no disrespect, but the appellation, the username looked like one of those. You know what I mean? Not for nothing. Like, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, let's get into this, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this was wild, bro. I'm like, yo, hold on. Squatters. I looked this up. Especially, I don't know. It's crazy because they was talking about like even when the Knicks won the championship, they was saying, yo, if they find a way over to the Statue of Liberty, they're gonna take that over too. And I'm like, yo, y'all know it already happened back in the day. Like, but not in a bad way. I found this to be an interesting story, not for nothing, real talk, because there was parts in there where it was undoubtedly reminding me of Moors, but then I think about what's going on today, and I'm like, was this a stunt to like jack the movement? I don't know, because they were doing it under an acronym of I mean, you want to just get it?
Let me read it, and then you can just tell me when to stop if you have any interjection.
Yeah.
So squatters put life. Oh, it's just this is
for educational purposes only. For educational purposes only. Yes, that's it. That's
June
all.
25th, July 25th, 1970. July 25th, 1970. Oh, July 25th, 1970. Squatters put life into Ellis Island. Deidre Carmody. 62 persons, many of them former convicts and former drug addicts, have taken over the abandoned brick buildings of Ellis Island, which they are busily refurbishing as part of their plan to turn the island into a rehabilitation center for 2,500 people. Federal authorities have been quietly looking the other way since the squatters took over on Monday. The squatters told the National Park Service, which has jurisdiction over the island, that the Nixon administration had allowed them to occupy it, but the White House, in response to a query, said that the squatters did not have such permission. Henry G. Schmidt, Northeastern Regional Director of the National Park Service, said that at the present time, this is not interfering with any plans we have. The men, women, and children who seized the island belong to NEGRO, an acronym for the National Economic Growth and Reconstruction Organization, a self-help group whose main purpose is to generate economic growth and job opportunities for Negroes.
Now, this is in 1970s, right? For time frame context, right? Because I'm listening. It's other parts in here which when we get to, I'll explain why I'm kind of skeptic. Like, was they trying to like hijack the movement? They was doing some good things, but was they? And it's a reason why I'm saying that. I love the story, but it's like, hold on, I don't know. It's something to it that is just like, I don't know what was going on. Why we didn't know about this? This is monumental for real when you think about it. But let's continue on more. The fact that and shout out to to Henry G. Schmidt. He said, "Look, what they doing, it's not disturbing anything we doing because at the time, keep in mind, right? The law is the law. So the rules of abandonment, right? They closed the park down. It was not being utilized, right? So." Keep that in context that is the scenario. I'm not telling anybody to do it, not do it. I'm just saying that in this context, because they called them squatters in the 70s. And might I add, that headline and that usage of the words, that didn't start with Moors of this era. Like you can see this is documented in the 70s, right? But I don't think it's all bad. Let's continue. Moore, would you mind? Pardon me.
Islam, where I got you.
Indeed. Thank
Much work being done. The squatters have been painting, peeling walls, plucking the weeds that have grown rampant in the cracks in the concrete, and clearing away the dense undergrowth that has been choking the island since it was abandoned in 1954, after having served as the entrance point for generations of immigrants to the United States, quote unquote, United States.
Yeah.
The island is in upper New York Bay, just off Jersey City.
Facts.
In a statement issued yesterday,
my fault. Didn't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I do just want to acknowledge the work, right? Like they came in cleaning up.
Yeah.
You understand? Like that means something. Like they came in what they was trying to do. I'm just saying what was done. It seemed like great intentions. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. And so when they say they came in, and they have grown, they was peeling walls, plucking weeds, and working. You know what I mean? Trying to preserve the beauty of it. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I really don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they was abandoning since 1954 and this is over 10 years later, you know. Peace, more. That was just my a narrative on it. I didn't want to
No,
cut the wisdom.
no, you're good, more.
Indeed.
But that's definitely right. You know, they're taking some type of responsibility if they're gonna, you know, go squat, quote unquote.
Right.
If they're gonna claim, you know, if they're gonna adverse claim, then sure they should clean it up. Why not? Why would you have it with the grass growing out the cracks and all that?
Right.
You know.
You got to remember too, Ellis Island. There's Liberty Island, and then there's Ellis Island. Right. Ellis Island is like, you know, it's buildings. Like, it's not many, but it's a pretty decent sized building. And one of them, like, they will house people, like, especially if they came with diseases and stuff like that. But you look at it now, they doing that. Some places they're converting old schools to apartments and things like that. It seemed like they kind of had the idea early on. Like, if you ever see not just the Statue of Liberty part, but the other part as well.
And then if you notice too that all the entry points is always at some bay.
Facts. Yeah. Major ports, bro.
Remember, some bay is always the entrance point.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
In a statement issued yesterday, the squatters called the occupation an act of friendly seizure and noted that the White House considered it a breach of law. We agree fully that such acts cannot be condoned, the statement said. NEGRO has therefore agreed to vacate Ellis Island in a short time. As soon as we have been able to achieve our goal, a demonstration of the capacity of the society's forgotten drug addicts, multi-generational welfare recipients, former prison inmates, to create rehabilitative community. Now again, the intentions seem in the right place, but the whole acronym and stuff like that it's
yes. Right. And that's what made me think, like, yo, hold on. I mean, again, intentions immaculate, but what's up with that? Like, we you talking about in the 70s, we already on, you know, to the prophet passed already, but we already know the message. We're not Negro, black, and colored. I mean, some people knew, some people didn't. I guess still in this time for sure. But that was the only thing. Like, and it's a reason. It's still when we read on, you're gonna see why I really feel like, hold up, was this one of those stunts, or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because no doubt. And I'm not just saying that to hate, because I'm not a hater. I love it, but still, it's certain things I look at like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know if this was one of those stunts to kind of like try to hijack a movement that was already moving, type of thing. But again, I do not want to sound like a hater. It is a reason why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Get to that point. Yeah, for sure.
Visitors from the sky. Yesterday, the ghost-like island suddenly became the scene of frenzied activity as helicopters began landing on the island. The first to arrive at 7:30 a.m. was from the Columbia Broadcasting System with a camera and crewmen who spread out over the island taking pictures and interviewing the squatters. By early afternoon, the squatters had decided that they did not like the news broadcast about themselves and that no more interviews would be given. But the helicopters were still arriving. One from the Daily News landed and was sent away. As the news helicopter took off, a copter from the New York Times landed in the tall weeds on the fields next to the mammoth Great Hall with its turrets and cupolas. Two men stood sentinel-like on the roof and watched. 4 men suddenly appeared out of the weeds that were waving wildly in the breeze caused by the helicopter's blades. No, we will not let you look over the island, said one tall man wearing a fez, like cotton hat. After 20 minutes of one-sided conversation,
Hold up, yo. Hold up. That's the part that got me like, yo, what? It gotta be more to this story, like MOOR to this story, because how did this end up to be included in this article? That it was someone with a fez like cotton hat in the midst of this right here, like, you know how they try to spin a narrative as more
Yeah.
squatters and all of that, and I'm like, this is in the 70s. He's talking about a fez like cotton hat, talking about you can't come here, and you know what I mean. So I'm like, hold on, was this I don't know, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. You know what I mean? Like that.
70s is interesting.
You know what I mean? 1970. Yeah.
70s is interesting.
Yeah.
Read something from the 20s, it's expected. 70s,
right? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, but again, I like what they're saying. The intentions was that's dope. I think that was a good look for those
honorable people. What they're doing.
Yeah,
because those are the meek. Those are the ones that they're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they're only going to be out of trouble if people help.
Right.
That demographic of people that they're choosing to serve are the ones that got left back.
Yes.
For whatever reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When we talk about it takes a village and all that, and then you see that these people are having issues having issues trying to assist people. Could it be because they called it Negro? Why they're having issues?
Right.
Major. Could that be what played them? Just because if a Negro gets it, then you're sort of pushing the idea that Negroes could get stuff.
Right. And they wasn't going to let that happen. and the fact that they made it an acronym for organization.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was that? I never heard of that before.
I heard that, yeah. Not in any research have I heard of what the hell is it?
Yeah.
The National Economic Growth and Reconstruction Organization.
Right.
National Economic Growth and Reconstruction Organization.
Yeah, and let me be very clear. I'm in no way sitting here trying to say we are Negroes. I'm saying that this story has elements in it that I think were noble, but also it's something Moorish to it, especially when they said that a man came out with a fez-like cotton hat. They made sure to note that in the article.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, what was going on? You know what I mean? It was something, not for nothing. And I'm not trying to promote no stigma. I think that if we're looking at intentions, that this was honorable, especially because it was abandoned since 1954.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not like they pulled a vice on somebody.
Nah. Not at all, yo. Not at all. And it's a brilliant idea. Like if they were to have a space where they could absolutely, have treatment and go sober and be like in their own little world or whatnot, at that time, I mean, that would have been dope. You know what I'm saying? Like you would really have to commit to recovery and not, using and it not being as available. But you know how that'll go. They'll turn the island out. You know what I'm saying? Like straight like that. But I think it still is a noble idea. It's just getting caught up in why did they use that brand? Especially because knowing that by all true and divine records, you know, Negro, black, and colored are not proper appellations, but they didn't use it like a proper appellation. They used it for organization. What was going on with that? You know, that's I just feel like I know I wouldn't claim that identity, or it's not even an identity. It's a nondescript brand, especially
Yeah,
when you do the etymology. It's not a nationality. That's a fact. No slight, no shade. I love our people,
this can't
but
be a national anything.
yeah, it's not. So you know, but then you know maybe they flipped it for a reason. I don't know. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like it was something to that Moors might be interested in looking into, you know, because that's 1970. It wasn't like they was on some hostile type time. They was like, yo, look, this not being used. That is that is even according to the Holy Quran of Mecca, Great Quran of Muhammad. That is Muslim law. Like it's a part of it. You know, it has to not be used for living or any other purpose. Then it's all right according to the Quran. I didn't make that up. So yeah, I
Right.
just see that yeah, it just I don't know. It's something clean about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll just go back again. Four men suddenly appeared out of the weeds that were waving wildly in the breeze caused by the helicopter's blades. No one, no, we will not let you look over the island, said one tall man wearing a fez-like cotton hat. After 20 minutes of one-sided conversation, during which he smiled politely and said almost nothing, he was reminded that the press had as much right to be on the island as he did. I know, he said, and stood with his arms crossed, blocking the path and silhouetted against the barbed wire fence. The helicopter soon took off. A spokesman for NEGRO said later that Dr. Thomas M. Matthew, president of the organization, did not want reporters and photographers wandering all over the island asking questions of uninformed inhabitants. Dr. Matthew is to hold a news conference on the island this morning. Dr. Matthew, a neurosurgeon, was released from prison in January by President Nixon in an act of clemency after the doctor had served 59 days of a 6-month sentence on tax evasion charges. What is going on here?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah, that part, all of that. Again, not
The, the,
you
the plot just thickens. The plot thickens.
yo on Ellis Island, no, bro. Wow,
How
they
did we
still
get
right
here?
out there, but damn.
How did we get here?
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, but that was what I was trying to emphasize was the fact that that happened, and they saying that he had a fez on type. You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on, what's going on in the 70s though?
Mhm.
1970. I mean, you know, some stuff we just did not make up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean, none of it, but like this has been a thing, I guess. You know, because they tried to continue that narrative in the 20s like it was, you know, wild and like they didn't use the same tactics and doctrine of discovery and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I just yeah, you can continue reading though. That's
Yeah.
really what I was trying to highlight in that was that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go on.
Let's see if there's any more in there. According to Thomas Ryan, spokesman for the group, Dr. Matthew has paid the $9,000 that was cited in the indictment and is ready to pay the rest of his back taxes when the Internal Revenue Department decides how much he owes. The amount has been approximated as 150,000 for the last 15 years. Well, he said they'll get you with taxes, didn't he?
Yeah.
Dr. Matthews said at the time of his conviction
Oh,
that he.
my fault.
Huh?
Not for nothing. Not
Oh
for
yeah,
nothing.
go ahead.
If you scroll up to that picture, I don't know if we read that caption, but if not now, maybe we could get back to that because that's telling too. With that, yeah,
Oh, this one here. Yeah.
yeah,
Two of the squatters from Negro on top of the Great Hall on Ellis Island on the lookout for newsmen's helicopters yesterday. The blacks seized the abandoned island on Monday. The so-called blacks.
right. This is what I'm saying. So that goes to the branding more, like you know what I mean. Why? But
Yeah.
why is it Moorish regalia in the midst of all of this?
Yeah.
That's why I was saying, like, was this one of those stunts? Like, I'm gonna leave that alone. But I just say sometimes it feel like there's certain publicity stunts to make it seem a certain way. But then,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if this was one of them. But
No,
how random is that? You know what I mean? How random is that?
yeah. Right
Yeah.
and exact.
And then why they emphasizing this Negro and black thing? You feel me? Like I don't know. Like that's the part where I'm like, I don't know if this was one of those op stunt things. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, we seen some crazy stuff in the media and it's like that had to be a stunt.
I mean, and this is 70s.
Right.
You know that they're pulling stunts. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't put it past them to have been trying something.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Matthews said at the time of his conviction that he has not paid the taxes because he wanted to devote all of his personal resources to the Negroes' self-help program. Mr. Ryan said the families on the island had set up a factory in the old ferry building to package non-toxic chemicals. This is the kind of work the Negro envisions for the addicts it wants to rehabilitate on the island. The packaging is part of the contract Negro has with the General Services Administration. The work was formerly being carried out in a building in Harlem. Negro, a nonprofit organization which gets its capital through business loans and sale of bonds, also owns a bus company in Los Angeles, a small factory in Washington, and other services.
Right. Sound like, the same thing Marcus Garvey had going on. Drew Ali, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like I don't know. I see the blueprint in it in the
Yeah.
sense of, you know what I mean, what they had going on. But it's like, did this all stem from that movement? Is this a super spinoff? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know more because the fact that they said a man wearing the fez like cotton hat. That's all I need. I know this. It was somewhere in this movement, and it might have been a derivative of Noble Drew Ali's movement straight out. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's, this is how I'm looking at it. Like, I don't know about how, who was the head of the move, what they had going on, organization. Let me say, they are clarified that this is an organization, not a people who have an organization. I don't know if it's mockery. You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting at. Pardon me. I'll leave that there. I don't know if it's mockery. Oh yeah, but it was definitely something else in here too. If we're gonna continue on, because
Yeah.
yeah,
Negro nonprofit organization. Oh yeah, Safe Bonds. It is now drawing up its proposal for Ellis Island and will submit it to the White House soon. Although talks on the subject between Negro and the administration have been going on for some time. The seizure of Ellis Island was the second attempt this year. In March, a group of militant Indians swamped an 18-foot launch before dawn one morning in an unsuccessful attempt to land on the island, and it turned out to be a symbol of the wrongs suffered by the American Indians.
seemed like whole lot of hijacking going on, right? Word, because we already had we shared multiple articles about how the American Indian and references to textbooks, everything is the misnomer, American Indian. So if we're going to highlight the fact that Negro is a nondescript identity, then so is and not just because, but because it in fact is, American Indian is a misnomer right along with Negro, black, and colored. So that's why it's looking like maybe it was a lot of people hijacking the movement back then, like we see today, trying to exclude Moors out of it, but using Moorish information and science, if you will, is what it seems like. I don't know if I don't think I'm reading into that too much, but the fact that, okay, let's say it's that American Indian is wrong, because it is, but let's just say they're intending to say indigenous people or Aboriginal people of the region. Then they're saying that the Aboriginals tried to take over Ellis Island.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting from it.
Yeah. So what's that about? I don't know. I never.
And then what are their intentions with it? What are they doing if they take it over?
Right. Exactly. But they did this before this organization did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's the same organization.
The same organization. They tried it at
yeah. And right. It would have.
The Indian didn't work. Let's try it as the Negro and see
how far.
Chill.
Oh man, damn. Maybe so. You know what I mean? I know they both wrong as far as identity goes, though. I don't see how they would get far at that time with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last paragraph. At the time of the attempts at the time of the attempted takeover, the Coast Guard proclaimed a zone of security around Ellis Island under the Espionage Act of 1917.
Yeah. So when that, I guess the so-called American Indians, right, when they tried to take it over
on some brute force, they got the Espionage Act slapped.
Right.
So they said, okay, we can't go that way. Okay, well, what about claiming it to help unfortunate people?
Yeah. Right. I mean, which was a noble idea, I think.
Yeah,
I really think that's a noble idea.
Especially because it's abandoned.
Especially because it's abandoned and it's monumental. Right. For 13 years. Like, all right, you're talking Ellis Island and all that, Liberty Park. Like, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, those institutions, they already had like places and rooms and stuff like that where they would house sick people. And technically, addicts, they're considered, it's considered a medical thing, like on certain stuff. So if they could go there and get cleaned up, why not? Ain't no stores on the island like that, Just I think that's great. They probably should still eventually. I like how it is set up with the history, but it's
well, I mean, turn into something that's free.
Well, Ellis Island.
Yeah.
I think you gotta pay for the boat ride to get to the island. Man, we went years ago. But they're not fronting with the history in there. They let you know flat out, bro. We went. Matter of fact, it's been like 10 years since we went. You know what I mean? But they give it up in there. Like if you see that and you still don't know, like I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like they not lying. They tell you how they got the land. And again, a lot of people be like, damn, yo, they just demolished Moors and conquested. Like you gotta understand, one of the ways that we lost a lot of numbers was definitely through the diseases that they bought that we had no immunity to. Back to the medical. right? Like we lost millions just by them showing up. And I'm not saying this on no hateful thing. That is the history. That is, in fact, like it or not, the history, fam. Like that's the truth. So that's how a lot of us got wiped out. Was just by the diseases being spread. You know, like real deal type. What they was scared about COVID, like type thing. That
Yeah.
was really happening. You know, back then, just off contact, just off of proximity. You know, and I don't know what that space looked like. You know, was it 6 feet? Was it 60 feet back then? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it was definitely something in the air that came with them. You know, and so that's real. Yup. And so they tell you this though in Ellis Island. They show you like it's in the exhibition. You know, and so yeah, the home of what they call immigration and liberty and freedom and justice for all and all of that.
Yeah.
Liberty Island, Ellis Island, and oh yeah, on that note, shout out to everybody in the chat and shout out to Malik Bey. I seen he put in the chat. I find that he said something about Ellis Island, the L-E-L, and it being in the Bay, B-E-Y. I know you asked about if I seen something in the chat. I seen that.
Yeah.
Good things, but that was a fly perspective, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what 20 minutes? You want to press one for 20 minutes?
Yo,
Crazy is 9:30.
9:30 already. Yeah.
It calls it 9:30 right now.
Yo, just breathe, bro. Man, I don't know. More like
Yeah, we straight. I mean, whatever. Down for whatever. You already know.
I mean, I don't mind chopping it, but I don't know, bro. Like, I really feel like this is a bot, bro. Like, I don't mean no disrespect.
Yeah,
But
if you have any questions,
this is a bot, bro.
Yeah, we'll go through the chat and we'll put some people up on the screen. If you have any questions or any comments, we'll just put those on the screen and read those for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I really don't mean to be disrespectful or try to diss nobody, but I'm not lying. I really feel like that's a bot, bro. It's the same type of name that, like that hacked our first live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. And I'm not, that's just me. That's how I see it, bro.
Yeah, he said he's not a bot in the chat. That's one of those.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, bro. That's what my gut tells me. We could go wherever with it, but that's what I feel. But it's whatever, you know what I mean? It's whatever. I don't mind, but I just really feel like it's a bot.
There's one here. Why do people keep trying to tell Moors our nationality is not? Again, it's just trying to get you off the path, mainly for the weak minds. Like when you see all the different whoever's going live or have platforms or doing interviews or whatever, and they're just putting out BS, putting out nothing to help anybody. So people aren't going to look at nationality as something has to be proven. You have to show that. No, you don't. They don't ask anybody else to prove their nationality to them. Only Moors. You never see them make a video talking about they're challenging some people about Buddha or something like that. Or saying that's not Buddha's name, his name is this name, and bringing up articles talking about Buddha's not real. They don't do that with their stuff.
Right. Yeah. And it's intentional too, because you're talking about the truth about the identity of a people who it was an intentional endeavor to like try to erase that aspect, but it didn't really work. But it was an attempt to, especially through certain curriculums. So I see it like, again, listen, I ain't walking around with no hate in my heart, never have. But uh, Southern Poverty Law Center is a prime example, once again, of how these corporations will pay agent like bots, like again, you know what I'm saying, to spin these narratives,
Mhm.
you know, and try to discredit Moors. Oh, we're not Moors. We're not. Like, just do the knowledge, you know, and keep it to nature and see what you find. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I think that's why, like, a lot of people, it crumbles the lies that, you know, their society is kind of founded on when it comes to identity of people. Like, even and I said this, like, if you, some of these things are like already pre-boxed. So like, if you was to fill out an application and they ask you what is your race or ethnicity or identity, and I asked this question, I want to know, why is it not just a box for American alone, like with nothing else to it, no hyphen, no nothing, just American? Why is that not an option? Why is it always American Indian, Alaskan Native, Pacific Islander? You know what I mean? Is there's no, why isn't it that, you know, there is no box for American, Native American, or whatever, you know? I don't know. So the identity game is what they play in this world. Like, that's how they do it. And
Yep.
it is what it is, you know what I mean? But yeah, when you really look at it, everybody's nationality is not on that box or the boxes they provide. Sometimes it's a space to write other, you know, sometimes you gotta just, you know, declare it, proclaim it, it is what it is. But yeah, identity is a big game, and it's a few that play the that I'm American when really they're not. You know what I mean? Yeah. hmm
You're seeing the screen right now?
Okay. All right. So the Goats Academy. It says, I listened to GS Todd speak recently on Real Moore's talk regarding citizenship. It got a bit contentious. It got a bit contentious. Should Moors be involved in local and national politics? Is my question. Peace, Moors. I haven't listened to that conversation. Oh, you want to say something
Oh no,
before?
no, go ahead, more. I was just
Yeah,
saying Islam for the question.
right. I haven't listened to that discussion, and I don't understand the nature of it, but I do understand the question. And I'll leave it at this. Nationality determines your political status first and foremost, by definition. So when you're asking, you got a bit, when you say, should Moors be involved in local and national politics, is my question. Peace, Moors. Listen, that is what a Republican form of government is. That is the law of the land, right? Like the Republican form, the people are the government, right? That is a fact. If it's not in that order, it is not right. Like, it is not the law of the land. Like, it's just not. So that's why you have what they call the so-called founding fathers saying things like, you have a republic if you can keep it, right? There is a responsibility that goes with it. Why you, that's why, again, and we cite Noble Drew Ali said, active, not passive Moors. Get active in some way, but you know, I get it. Some people genuinely, politics is not their thing. I respect it. But there's so much Moorish culture and heritage that you could tap into. You'll find out most of the stuff you like really did stem from, you know, Moors inventing things and being involved. So again, not to sidetrack, but again, by definition, nationality determines your political status. So you do with that as you will. Um, Local politics, I mean, I'll just say, in the rights of indigenous people have the right to freely determine their political status um, by universal right to self-determination. So I think that's kind of a self-determining decision. It's not for everybody. You could be, should you be? I don't know. Maybe some people shouldn't. Maybe some people should. When you say should Moors be involved in, I mean, maybe some are really. I don't know. I don't know. Everybody should know the law of the land in which they live. I'm gonna say that. And in some cases, you need to be active. It's good to be civic minded. But like I said in the beginning of the show, of this broadcast, of this session, like I said, I think all Moors, should learn CPR. Um, it's something that's good to know, but it's something you may not ever want to have to use. And that's also respectable. Like you don't want to have to use it. It's just good to know if you need to. Some things are that perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, like it's life saving, but do you want to have to save? So I hope nobody's in that position for me to have to do it. But if you have to do it, then it's good to know what you got to do. You know what I mean? That's how I would say when it comes to politics or local politics. Again, I can't emphasize enough the rights of indigenous people speaks about this, that indigenous people have the right freely to participate in the affairs of their state or whatever, right? Like if they so choose. If you so choose, that's on you. If you choose not to, that's fine too. It's a choice. Self-determination, I will leave that there and I yield more. Peace.
Peace more.
Mhm.
Um, should should Moors be involved in local and national politics? I'm looking at it like um, if a Moor's running, if a Moor's running, and the Moor has a chance to get in and make a change on benefit or behalf of or whatever for the Moors as a whole, and there not be any BS and all that, yeah, sure, why not? Why not have representative in the local and national politics? But on the side that what Ms. is saying, that if we have the right to self-determination, then why don't we just focus that energy on our Grand Sheik and Grand Governor and Grand Secretary and all them, and let that be the local and national politics. Why does our national politics have to include the colonizer?
Right.
If we're saying we're a nation, if we're saying everybody's saying that they're Moors and everybody has their nationality and birthrights unlocked, then with that comes all those people who have the finance to put up their whatever it is, 10%, 15% or whatever, just like all other nations do, and assist in the uplifting of the nation.
Mhm.
Because everybody else is doing it. I don't see any other nation that's not getting their payoff from their nationals, whatever level that they're on in society. Everybody has their dues to pay. So if we're talking local and national politics, it should be our own politics.
Right. Because
It should be the politics that govern how this Moorish nation is going to be moving forward for the next 500 years.
mm,
You know, I'm of the mindset that in the 1920s, Drew Ali was about the takeover, and we were just going to get people in office in the most powerful positions and take over from the inside, because they got Oscar the Priest in office pretty easy. Like they got him in office easy. So whoever else was next up or whatever connection that was creating, we would have been able to ride off that. But with this stuff that's going on now, you know, they're not really the government. So we should put our energies toward the self determination part. You know,
Yeah, you know,
give thanks for that one.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because in yeah, I see it the same way more because local politics, I mean, it all could get tricky, but I will say that, it was said that Grand Sheiks are empowered to make and enforce laws. So there goes some politics right there. Why that's not going on? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh.
For members of the Moor Science Temple of America, shout out to all Moors, but I'm just saying, they be having a lot to say about other Moors. What's going on? Where's what new laws did the Sheiks make? Like, do they benefit Moors? Like, is it being subjected to the other, people still? What's going on?
Hmm.
You know? Because at the beginning and the end of the day, it's a prime example of how government is supposed to work. You know what I mean? Like the sheik, the king, the president, they all supposed to be working for the people, right? Like that is the truth. Like the king, if you will, for example, right? That is a governmental title, right? It's not just, you styling. Like, no, it is a form that a king and a queen is a form of government, not the form of government that we're under in America in this sense. I know Canaanland, I know they deal with the crown and everything like that, but it's a form of government, right? Like princes and all of that. But at the end of the day, man, they supposed to be serving for the people, not the people serving them. And any governmental head that says it's something different, it's not you're talking something different. You know what I mean? Like it's not for the people. The people don't have the authority. Let me say that. So yeah, but still in all, that really is the way things go. So it's the same thing for a sheik or a chief, right? Like they ultimately make the executive decisions, but at the will of the people, right? Even in the Circle 7, pardon me, let me just go here real quick. Chapter 29, when it talks about magistrate and subject and being elected by your equals to be a ruler over them. Like, meaning that the people say, you know what? This brother or sister is good for this position. We select him or her because they're just the best person for the position. But you still got obligations in that position, right? So that's really what it boils down to is not losing sight of it being about the people. You know what I mean? Yeah. But where the people at with it is the question in this regard, Do they understand this? Because anytime the so-called government is running the people and not the other way around, is really kind of unconstitutional, really, you know. All right, what's this one? You want to read this one? Office.
No, that was no question. That was just a statement Amor put up there.
Oh, all right, okay. We're gonna interpret as. Oh yeah, yeah, that's a fact, Zion. But yeah, the Federal Directive 15. But they switched it up. They changed it because Moores was on to it. Like maybe last year or something like that. They tried to change it and they made I think they added more people to the definition of black. If I'm not mistaken, I think they included like Jamaicans, all types of yeah, like they just made. If I'm not mistaken, I recall because it's relatively new. I always known it to say, yes, this is not for anthropological purposes. I don't know if the same disclaimer is there, but I know they changed the definition of white because it said right in there before that this was talking about the North African races. It never was talking about the Europeans. It was a status, is a status that wasn't based off of skin complexion. It wasn't. Neither was black, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really that. But so they started commonly being counted as white with the Naturalization Act of 1870, speaking about Ellis Island and all of that, and naturalizing and all of that. You know, that came from them being called white came from the 1870 Naturalization Act. Because prior to that, it did not mean Caucasian race, you know, Aryan race or Indo-European race, you know, and really it still don't. Those are just acts. So, but that's how they utilize it. But it really still mean what it mean, you know. And it doesn't Caucasian race. Yeah.
Does not. Right? Just like black does not mean dark skin individual.
Right. Exactly. Especially when you look at the etymology of these words, you know. So yeah, it's just when you go back in those time frames, we're talking. It's a whole different conversation, you know. Definitely a whole different conversation
Mm-hmm.
when they talking about black and white. Even I know a while ago we read the article about the case about Sarah, and they saying in it like, yo, they always knew that white did not mean it well included the dark skinned and swarthy people of Africa and Asia, right? And this was in the early 1900s because you got to kind of keep in mind the 1870 Naturalization Act was relatively new at that time. So when it was being challenged, like, yo, they already knew that white means that it included the dark skinned races, what they call the dark skinned races of Asia and Africa and the Mediterranean and whatnot. So yeah, I mean it's very interesting how everything flipped where we at now, you know. But thank goodness we still know the truth and it's out there, you know. Yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, thank goodness we know the truth and what's out there. And that, you know, this black and white game is BS. It never was really a true identity. They were always statuses, you know, not identities. So that's why they would get away with saying that a European was so-called black because first off, the etymology of the word, it does mean pale. But even with their concept of the one drop rule and all of that, it was a lot of these Europeans that was considered that legally though. Like legally in the like if there was Europeans, right? Legally this was happening. Not lawfully, but legally. There were Europeans going to buy properties and things like that. And they were told, you can't buy this because you're legally black. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Again, the case with Susie Guillory Phipps is a prime example in Louisiana. And that was in the 80s, 1980s. Some of us was born that decade. You know, some of us, you know, I mean, that's not that long ago. You know, it's really not that long ago when we, in this context of how they were using black and white legally. Like, and there's cases precedent regarding these things, how Europeans were considered black legally. So yeah, it's very interesting when you look at it from a historical perspective of what does that even mean? You know, like what does that mean? Is it based off of skin complexion? Can't be that. You know that brown don't mean black. I don't care what nobody say. I'm never nah. That's just not the case. So it's not complexion. It's not a nationality. Then what is it? What does that mean? How can somebody of not dark skin be legally considered that? And they didn't have DNA testing to determine the one drop rule at that time anyway. So
Let's add this one in there. Let me ask you this
yeah.
one. What about freedmen? Does that follow the same criteria as you're saying with the other labels?
I do think so because in a sense, a shout out, I'm never against anybody who's enslaved that being ended. Like you know, celebration, if the shackles came off, I don't have nothing bad to say about that. You know, that's what's really good. But my thing with the freedmen is, what are we what like, are we all supposed to, I don't think it's right and exact for us all to like claim that we're descendants of freed men, because not all of us were enslaved, right? Like, it was many of us literally walking around free in the 1800s before the Emancipation Proclamation. So I think that kind of lends towards a certain class of people, but those who were being freed again weren't just those of melanated complexion. You know what I mean? Like, this, you gotta tell the real history. Like, it wasn't just dark skinned people who were being freed as a transitive action, like a transitive word. Freed is transitive. There was some who were already that prior to, right? So you got to keep in mind, you had Irish slaves, right? Italian slaves. There were a lot of different nationalities who experienced slavery in America. Like, that is a fact. That is this is why they want to erase the slave story, and you see them taking these exhibits down everywhere and all of that under the current administration, and what they got going on in Florida today. They want to bury that history because they know for a fact not all of us were slaves. They know firsthand, that so-called Seminoles, which we know are the Olives, were not slaves. Like, they wanted to enslave them, but it just was not happening, for a very long time.
Right.
So yeah, and more than that, free Moors. They would say free blacks. For your own research purposes, you could see that this was the case prior to 1865. So I salute to anybody's freedom, but like, it ain't like we all got free that day. Like, nah, that's not the truth. That is definitely not the truth. So yeah, I don't think that, and I know personally my ancestors, some of us, matter of fact, a lot of us, had suffered through slavery, but a lot of us were also free. Like, I have records showing, like, hold on, these were free people. These weren't no slaves. You know what I'm saying? Prior to, you know. So yeah, I just look at that and I'm like, salute to that. But it ain't like we all got free that day, like I said. So yeah.
It's
Facts.
yeah, more great session as usual.
Facts. More peace to y'all, man.
As usual.
As usual. Definitely. I trust everybody good out there. Definitely felt good to be back in the session tonight.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Yeah.
It was needed. It was needed.
Yeah, for
Definitely
sure.
needed.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that being said, man, I look forward to the next session. I hope everybody good out there, and again, just stay safe. This is about to be scorching, you know what I mean? So next session, man,
Third Thursday.
third
Right
Thursday
here.
every month.
Right
And
here.
yes, indeed. And shout out to all the Moors worldwide. I trust this one has some value, even on the playback, and some more material to study and research from, man. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
So peace to y'all,
Yep. Oh no! Oh yeah! No, I was just reading this last chat right here
Okay.
about cosplaying as Arabian, just like the Phoenician. Arabian is a certain people speaking a certain language, Arabic, Arabian.
Right.
We're not them. We're not them. We don't have to be speaking Arabic to be Moors or to claim that we're Moors. I didn't see anything that Noble Jwali put out that was Arabic. Yeah, nothing. Everything was for us to read in the language that we comprehend. And everything makes sense too. So you know why it's so hard for people, but it's only hard for those who aren't thinking.
Facts. And might I add, that's how they play. That's another way they play the identity game is through language. Like, because language, it could tell a lot about what your upbringing is and whatnot, but people can speak multiple languages too. But yeah, the reality is they try to identify people by language. So if somebody speaks Latin or what they call Spanish, they'll call them Latinos or Latinas because they speak Spanish. But that's really not an identity either. Like they got a nationality too, right? Like the language never makes you who you like. It never identifies your nationality. Let me just say that because we're Moors, though we speak the English language, that doesn't mean that we're English people. So if we speak the Arabic language, that doesn't mean that, someone is Arabic, but it's nothing wrong with knowing it,
Yeah,
but
nothing's wrong with it. Just
yeah,
say,
but that doesn't make you you. Culture, I can see how people gravitate to it, yes, you know, but you can speak multiple languages and still retain your nationality. Like that's just a fact, you know? So if we wanted to learn so-called Spanish today and be, and know English and whatever other languages, Portuguese, whatever or more, or anybody wants to go for, they can learn all those languages, but those languages will never determine their nationality. And you don't have to be that nationality to speak that language. So multiple people could speak English. That doesn't make the people who speak English people. Simple.
and it doesn't mean that they're colonized by some English either.
No, not at all. Because when you really get to it, all of those languages came from Moors. Like that's a fact. That's another conversation. But Phoenicians, shout out to the who they call Phoenicians, right? We know these are Moors who's
Shout out
dealt
to
with the language.
Phoenix.
Yeah. Phoenix, yup, all of that. The real desert, right? So let's before we get out of here, right? They want to act like yeah, they want to act like Arabian desert is over there and all of that. All that stuff is here in America anyway. Now what? Indigenous people out west, salute to all of you. You know what I mean? Because yeah, they got deserts out there. We gotta act like you from over there only, and that's how you see Moorish customs as Arabic. No, all that stuff was over here anyway. Down to the canyons, all of that. So yeah, man.
All one jurisdiction.
Yeah,
All Moorish. All of it. Happy holy day to all the Moors, even though every day is holy day.
facts
And
though.
honors to your day tomorrow. It will all goes well. Just
Indeed,
all the Moors on their travels. Give thanks for being here.
no doubt. Peace, Moors, for
Give
sure.
thanks, Miz. Honors to you.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Definitely. Likewise, always honor to do the sessions. And man, another one for the record. So honors to you all, you, Canaanland. Man, we're gonna see what these smoke signals looking like tomorrow, man. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's good.
crazy out there, but
Yeah.
y'all
We were
stay
saying
safe, man.
we were joking about how come they don't just get the damn get the weather machine and make the clouds
The
and
heart, the heart machine.
just put out the damn thing. Well, why is that? Why is it hard? You could make rain for news broadcasts or whatever, documentaries. They could make rain, but then for the life altering crisis, forest fires, you can't freaking make the clouds and put the stuff out. Playing around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say
you
that.
know.
Indeed, man.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to block out the sun. They're running from the heat right now.
Yeah, bro. That
The
was
only thing that
crazy.
makes sense. Nothing else makes sense. Why are they doing this?
Yeah, it was definitely wild. Like I said, man, no lie, the sun was looking like a tangerine for about a good 2-3 hours
Yeah, yeah,
this morning. I was like, oh, okay, you know,
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
looking,
that's how it was for yesterday for us.
yeah,
The orange sky.
yeah, it was
Just
just,
orange.
hey, no,
Everything
you
just
couldn't
orange.
see no cloud,
Right?
just hazy.
It's
And
haze. Just
yeah,
looked like something happened, but you're not smelling no sulfur or anything, so
no,
we're not in we're not in fire and brimstone.
uh, no. But yeah, still in all, man, y'all stay safe up there. Trust everybody stay safe. You know, you probably pull the mask back out for a couple days till it blow over, bro. If it's gonna get that bad,
If it's like that,
yeah,
pull
you know,
out the bandana or something.
exactly something, yeah. But word, I hope all out ends well with that, and that we all good. You know what I mean? So with that being said, peace, Moors. I appreciate every session, y'all, every session, and we'll see y'all soon. Peace,
Honors to all,
for sure.
and honors to Noble Drew Ali, Islam.
Yes.
What? What? I'm rocking. Who says we ain't in the building? Who says we ain't into building? We the Moorish master masons, architects for your children, repping Friday 13th like Jason, without the killing. But we promote life, oh, it's all about the feeling. And we invoke light, yo, we them light beings. Though you might see him on the block getting his portion, might be talking to cops, giving them caution. Occasionally wearing his fez when he's walking, see the turning heads, whispering, gawking. But he's locked in, and he's zoned out, while we boxed in our own
We
house.
study the mystics, the adepts, the magi. Wisdom of the ancients can uncalcify eyes. Possible mission, free mental numbness. Extract the substance, rid minds of dumbness. Use the source, don't care what some purport. As we don't by being told, man knows not. Many before the floor, souls got bought. Placed in the devil's hands, ruling the seven lands. To dogma rituals, Negro spirituals. Brainwash subliminal, keeps thinking to a minimal. They're still criminal, in a world digital so pitiful. Mental survival so critical, it's visible. Can you see past righteous blocks? Hashtag zombies with waves of cyber thoughts. No need for cell phones, they speak through saw palms. It's nothing for alarm, chips and forearms.
Wind, brass, and bass, such a beautiful serenade. Women feeding me grapes, I'm feeding the new serenades. Whether the sky is clear or gray, rain when you hear a fake, giving life to seed. Speaking through who not here today. Show you the future in a glimpse. Then always look to these holes like hallucinatory pimps. Sun walked the desert, been Marvin since I found God. Look back, used to see his prince. Forget being a prince, I'm a G. OD, grown man, no Jody. Deny it, you don't know me. Don't make me tap into the old me. That's like a couple hundred years. Walk around town with a couple hundred peers and release the peace of fears. The sun gon' shine, so what tears? This young brother here just trying to get his third eye clear.
Dish deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash. Real life rap, spitting over tracks. Conscious thinking and living and then attack. Dish deep, Moors don't sleep. Invest in your mind and body and unleash.
Yeah.
Real life rap,
Yeah.
spitting over tracks.
Yeah.
Conscious thinking and living and then attack.
So as the moon sets, the sun takes its place at spoons on blocks, inspired spots, filled spaces, peel back, rats, who got cases, fire stain the corridors of flemo faces, game changers, rule benders and no pretenders, style benders, channel my vibe through the vibrant optic lenses, send a message to our veterans, soldiers up and get it in, we on our verge, we emerge subliminal beings, third eye seeing, still a participant unwilling.
They wanna break me, shake, bake, grade me, rolling with my main G, double OMG, SON is crazy. For a minute that you think you could take me for a fool, like a native to his land, being schooled by a foreign dude. You've mistaken me, spiders on the roof, in the dark tools, I've been saying you've mistaken me. You better move or I mark it, power pin is my tongue, your existence to target, revealing all lies and deceit on the market. Genocide, carry out in pockets, I knock it down, bulldozer. David to Goliath, it's an exposure. Some big cats ruling and it's getting closer to your downfall. Round up all your soldiers.
Little homie, I was seeking a fortune, tired of misfortune. I just wanted a portion, everything that I never had, though I needed my portion. Blowing like porcelain, haters fragile as porcelain. Getting broke, tired of being broke. How we acquire hope is the DJ skilling some dope, just to keep us afloat. Mind as deep as the boat, brain is the lethal weapon. We want it to elope. When I speak, I provoke. Walk in the room with my aura feeling like heavy smoke. Feel like when the levee broke under my Louis Philly, the semi-poke. Cause then we cops and kill your boy, you ain't a joke. The cost of living, higher profits in private prison. These little girls are selling bodies just to pay tuition. These little niggas selling niggas just for bail condition. It's like the slavery never ended, where's the intermission? I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and me one plan. I wanna free the world, but I'm one man. A couple ones like me and one plan.